In March 2011, amidst the Arab Spring, Syria felt the tremors of discontent that had shaken the Middle East. What began as peaceful protests against President Bashar al-Assad's authoritarian rule quickly escalated into a brutal crackdown. Security forces met demonstrators with violence, igniting a firestorm of anger and resistance. Inspired by uprisings in Tunisia and Egypt, ordinary Syrians, yearning for freedom and democratic reforms, found their voices amplified in the face of oppression. The world watched as a nation once known for its rich history and vibrant culture descended into turmoil. The Assad regime, clinging to power, responded with overwhelming force, painting the streets of Damascus, Aleppo, and Homs with the blood of its own people. The world watched in horror as the death toll mounted, and the Syrian people found themselves trapped in a nightmare. What began as a quest for dignity and political change had morphed into a fight for survival. The year 2011 would forever be etched in Syria's memory as the year the nation fractured, and a generation was scarred by the horrors of civil war. By 2012, Syria was engulfed in a full-blown civil war. The conflict, complex and multifaceted, drew in regional and global powers, each with its own agenda. The United States, wary of another protracted Middle Eastern entanglement, provided limited support to moderate rebel groups. Russia, a longtime ally of the Assad regime, intervened militarily in 2015, tipping the balance of power in favor of the Syrian government. Iran, driven by its own geopolitical ambitions, bolstered Assad's forces with military advisors and financial aid. As the war raged, a dizzying array of armed groups emerged, their allegiances shifting like the desert sands. Extremist organizations, most notably ISIS, exploited the chaos, seizing territory and committing atrocities that shocked the world. Caught in the crossfire, Syrian civilians bore the brunt of the violence. Their homes, hospitals, and schools were reduced to rubble. Millions were displaced, forced to flee their homeland in search of safety and a future free from fear. The Syrian conflict, once a local uprising, had become a proxy war, its flames fanned by the geopolitical ambitions of distant powers. The Syrian conflict triggered one of the worst humanitarian crises in modern history. Over half of Syria's pre-war population of 23 million was displaced, both internally and externally. Neighboring countries including Lebanon, Jordan, and Turkey struggled to cope with the influx of refugees, their already strained resources stretched to the limit. The images of Syrian families, huddled in makeshift tents, their faces etched with exhaustion and despair, became synonymous with the human toll of the conflict. The international community, despite its best efforts, struggled to provide adequate aid and protection to those affected by the crisis. The Syrian conflict laid bare the inadequacies of the global humanitarian system, highlighting the urgent need for a more coordinated and effective response to large-scale displacement. The stories of Syrian refugees, their journeys marked by loss, resilience, and an unwavering hope for a better future, serve as a poignant reminder of the human cost of war and the urgent need for peace. Despite the unimaginable hardships they have endured, the Syrian people have demonstrated remarkable resilience. From the ashes of war, stories of hope and determination have emerged. Doctors and nurses risking their lives continue to provide medical care in bombed-out hospitals. Teachers in makeshift classrooms strive to provide a semblance of normalcy to traumatized children. Activists, both inside and outside Syria, raise their voices, demanding accountability and an end to the violence. The road to peace and reconstruction in Syria will be long and arduous. The country lies in ruins, its social fabric torn apart by years of conflict. Yet, even amidst the devastation, there are glimmers of hope. Local ceasefires, brokered by the international community, have provided temporary respites from the violence. Peace talks, though fragile, offer a glimmer of hope for a negotiated settlement. The Syrian people, who have endured so much, deserve nothing less than a future free from violence where their rights are respected and their voices are heard. The world must not turn away from Syria's plight but must remain engaged, providing humanitarian assistance, supporting peace efforts, and working towards a just and lasting solution to the conflict.